Meeting to order at 7:02. If you'd stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silent prayer.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you remain standing for a moment of silent prayer. Happy New Year. The first item on the agenda is public comments. If you would go to the microphone and give your name and address. You can also comment on every agenda item that we have on the agenda. Are there any comments at this time?
My name is Arloa Kaiser. I live at 1421 Melvin Street, and there was a question about this Verizon business and the $45,000 penalty given, if I understood correctly, by the Michigan Public Service Commission. They are having a meeting next week. If you want to go and visit or talk to them, they're very open. So,
Thank you, Ms. Kaiser. Yeah.
you know, they might waive that or whatever. You can talk to them too.
Thank you. Are there any other public?
Hello, trustees. My name is Chris Rizzo. I live at 2048 Timber Ridge in Ypsilanti Township, and I am angry and disappointed that Comcast has an effective monopoly on internet service providers in Ypsilanti Township. Comcast can charge any price they want to, and there is no competition. They are raising their prices in 2018 for no apparent reason. I'm requesting that Ypsilanti Township purchase and install a municipal broadband network to replace Comcast for internet access. Other cities have already done this in our country, such as Wilson, North Carolina, Chattanooga, Tennessee, Fort Collins, Colorado, and Longmont, Colorado. I have internet links to articles describing the experiences of these cities in acquiring municipal broadband networks that I can provide to you so you can read up on it and find out what other people have done. And I'd like to know if it would be possible to have a feasibility response to my request by February 20th trustee meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, first of all, thank you all for being here. I'm Stephen Hudak. I live at 553 Malbeth Street. And I didn't know this was going to come up, but I would second what this fellow said.
You want to read mine? Just to reinforce it.
Well, thanks. I'm here because I wanted to know what the status is on the sidewalk snow removal ordinance. And I wanted to ask what it takes to get an ordinance such as this into service. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Lawrence Johnson, 1659 Wingate Boulevard. I'm here to express my interest in what I understand to be an opening that has become available in the Parks Commission. I think you're all familiar with my past service on the Parks Commission.
Thank you.
My name is Arloa Kaiser. I live at 1421 Melvin Street. This gentleman brings up that he wants snow removal. I am against it. You laugh, Larry. I am against it. On the radio the other day, they were saying about snow removal, there is no state recommendation, orders, whatever you want to call it, that they would issue, and that if you have a snow removal and someone gets hurt, they can sue you. If you do not remove the snow, it is supposed to be a common sense thing that they cannot sue you if you fall on the sidewalk. And I am opposed 100% about an ordinance for snow removal on sidewalks. Everybody does not have a sidewalk. People are walking in the streets anyway when there are sidewalks. They're walking in bicycle paths along the road, and I am opposed to them.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
Hi, I'm Louis Dumas, and I'm a resident.
Could you, the person who does the minutes, they're not in the room. Could you spell your last name for the record?
Dumas.
Thank
Dumas, okay. I just did want to make a comment, follow up on what Monica was talking about with the 94 connector. I think it's a very good job that was done on that as well. I just did notice that it used to be totally disconnected. There was like no median in between. There was a big median in between. And in one area, there's just two solid lines down the street. And I just think that the speed limits should be regulated because the cars come in very close contact with each other in that portion of it where there's not the big median anymore. And just a clarification, if you would, on the connector from DeShell to Ann Arbor. It starts on the 29th, is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Is that going to be free till April as well? Or
We have
there was
free
a shuttle?
passes.
I think there was a shuttle that was free, but I was wondering if the connector was free too.
Each way.
It's $1.50.
The express route from the Shell Station to Mount Hospital to Transit and Central, that's $1.50 each way.
Okay.
We originally wanted
$6.
$6 or $7.
Yeah, that's a very fair price. I agree.
$1.50 each way.
All right.
It only goes twice in the morning,
Okay.
twice in the evening.
And that might be upgraded as well. Over time, that might be upgraded? Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much. Keep up the good work.
Thank you. We normally don't, respond, but for the snow ordinance that has been brought up before, not in place again this year. Hopefully, we can get more community input to see who wants it and who doesn't. In the past, most people did not want it. That doesn't mean that hasn't changed. And we talked about doing primary roads only, so people can walk to businesses and grocery stores and bus connections and stuff as phase one. But so we'll continue that conversation as it comes up. And the feasibility by the next board meeting, yeah, that's not possible to have a feasibility study done by that time.
Well, not a complete study, but how about just some kind of
But-
investigative information that you've uncovered? Or
Well, if you could provide the links that you had,
sure, should I email them to you?
or just give it to us and we'll put them actually in the record, it would be helpful, because there has been a lot of conversation about internet services. I know the city of Ypsilanti has wireless Ypsi, and it's accessible. That's a
Tried to use that?
No, sir.
I have, and it's
Well,
questionable, unacceptable. It's more like a token
Well-
representation.
okay,
From my experience of trying to
Okay.
use it, spotty.
I just wanted to say, and I know this is out of the norm, but we had, at our last month's agenda, and there's actually something tonight, like the competition is out there, and so all these companies are coming in, they're wanting to provide that. Verizon's on the agenda tonight. That one last, there's another one, and then it's a third one that's actually approached the township. So I think you're going to see a lot more competition.
This is a whole broadband cable network.
If they're going to do the whole, I guess the new thing is to go this wireless with this fiber wireless.
fiber optic.
Fiber optics, I'm sorry, used wrong term.
But,
anyways.
so it's really hard for the person who does minutes to have conversations without being at the microphone as well. So with that said, we need to look at, we normally don't respond, but I thought you wanted a report by February, and there's no way we could do that. But I do know that it's been talked about, so it definitely a lot of interest in it as well. And we can keep you updated, and hopefully you can give us that paper that had all the websites on.
I don't have the paper with me now, it's
Oh.
on my computer.
Okay, yeah, just.
Your email address, if I can get it, I'll email it.
Yeah, and we'll put it in the minutes so people can look at it. So we appreciate you coming out, and actually all the people who come out for public comments, we greatly appreciate it. Are there any other public comments at this time? For the consent agenda, we have minutes of the December 19th work session, the regular meeting, and the closed session with a few corrections that were given at the work session. We have statements and checks for the year end of December 22nd, 2017, statements and checks for January 16th, 2018, Choice Healthcare deductible amount, and the administration fee for Choice Healthcare, as well as the December 2017 Treasurer's Report.
Madam Chair, I would move to approve.
Support.
Motion Doe, support Eldridge to approve the consent agenda. Is there any questions, comments on the consent agenda? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Under the attorney's report, Mr. Winters, do you have any additional comments from the last work session?
Yes, I went through a very detailed, I want to go through that again in regards to the report, except for one item. As you know, the so-called ACM development continues to proceed forward. And as you may also recall, back in November of 2016, the township negotiated a development agreement that also has a section devoted to the calculation of a pilot payment to the township. And the pilot payment, the word pilot stands for payment in lieu of taxes. And under this agreement, it started out with a certain base minimum that was based upon fire protection and police protection. And so right now, without any investment into the property, the township receives $18,337. However, there is a formula that was written into this agreement that also now is going to start playing out in the next year or two and next 15 years. Under this formula, the township is entitled to receive additional dollars. It's based upon the actual annual capital investment. And in this formula, one of the examples that was part of the actual agreement itself, for example, if in fact ACM invested $10 million into the property, which we know they've invested much more than that. But just to give you an example of what I'm talking about, is that a $10 million investment would result in additional payment of $50,000. So a $10 million investment would result in a $68,000 pilot payment being paid to the township. Well, if you do the math, obviously, if there was a $50 million investment into the property, that would be $250,000 plus the base amount, the $18,000. The point I'm making right now is that we're just now going to be sitting down with the assessor, myself, supervisor, as well as in the days to come, we have deadlines in which we're supposed to receive validation of what the annual investment was in the ACM property during the 2017 calendar year. And because this is the first time we've gone through this kind of process, this is a different kind of a pilot agreement than the one you may be familiar with at Clark East Towers. It's simply based upon a percentage of the revenues minus the expenses. I'll keep the board informed in the months ahead, but we think right now this is going to be, a very, very strong benefit to the township in the years ahead, because we know right now that there's been a significant amount of dollars that have been invested into the ACM property. We know we have in excess of at least a commitment of over $120 million in regards to its so-called first-tier suppliers. And we see nothing but great things ahead, which is great. We want them to succeed. We want them to be the autonomous capital of the world, and we think that we will be. At the same time, we think that the pilot payment was negotiated with that success built into it, and so I'll keep the board informed because these are very significant dollars, and we want to make sure we get the number correctly, because whatever number we get each year becomes the new base for the following year until there's another recalibration of the investment. So there's a lot at stake here, and we need to get it right. You've seen the letters. I've been trying to get information the last 7, 8 months. Some of it we've got on our own, and the rest of it we'll get from them when they submit their annual investment certificate. Just wanted to keep everybody informed, though. This is very, very important to the township's financial well-being, is to have the ongoing redevelopment of properties, and this is a very, very key component in terms of ensuring our fiscal and financial strength for the next 15 years. That's the term of the Renaissance zone. After that, it goes back on the tax rolls based upon whatever value the assessor determines it to be. But for the next 15 years, this is what counts in terms of determining their annual pilot payment. So just wanted to give the board an example of what the dollars mean in terms of tax revenue. These dollars I'm talking about is paid to the township only. It's not paid or shared with other different municipalities. This is a benefit. The financial payment is for the township only, not to be shared with other taxing, because it's not really a tax, it's a payment in lieu of taxes. So, hope that's clear.
Thank you. Under new business, we have budget amendment number 1. Clerk Rowe.
I have a motion to amend the 2018 budget. It's the first budget amendment for 2018, to move to increase the general fund by $516,347 to $8,994,187 and approve the line item changes outlined. That's for fuel management that we did it last year. It's for lights to be installed on North Harris between East Michigan Ave and Holmes Road, $170,171. It's for lights on Vets Drive, which is out here, and also for the Civic Center parking lot of $130,026. And it's for the excitement of paying off all of the townships indebtedness for the bonds receiver farm of $210,000 included in that line item. To increase the environmental services fund by $1,536, that's for the rest for fuel management, to $2,765,893 and approve the line item changes as outlined. To increase the recreation fund by $24,820, and that's for the grant that we approved last year for the play area at the community center, to a total of $846,289 and approve the line item changes as outlined. To increase the law enforcement fund by $1,337, and that's for a PTO payout, to $7,270,565 and approve the line item changes as outlined. To increase the general obligation debt fund by $5,277.80, and that's to close a debt fund as recommended by our accounting director, to $5,207.80 and approve the line item changes as outlined. And to increase the debt fund Series B bond for the Seaver property bonds fund by $210,000 to $747,000, approve the line item changes as outlined, and increase the management motor pool fund for fuel management by $30,030 to $278,262, and improve the line item changes as outlined. I would so move to amend the 2018 budget.
Support.
Motion Rowe, support Doe. Questions, comment? In the work session, we just talked, for those who weren't at the work session, we talked about paying off the debt fund Series B bond, which is a Seaver property that we purchased. So that's actually retiring that debt, having a mortgage burning. So it's really good news, and that was paid off by negotiations of cell tower leases that we have for lump sum payment by Attorney Winters, and to retire that debt is really great financial news for the township, for residents and taxpayers. Sometimes we don't tell our story enough, but it's a very good story to tell. We have a motion and support. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 2 is the first reading of Resolution 2018-01, which is a proposed ordinance 2018-476, an ordinance amending the zoning code of the Charter Township of Ypsilanti. Clerk Rowe.
I have Resolution 2018-1 that references Ordinance 2018-476 to amend the zoning code of the Charter Township Ypsilanti. And whereas the township planning consultants completed a detailed review of the township zoning code, and whereas based upon that review, the township planning consultants have recommended amendments to the Charter Township Ypsilanti's Planning Commission involving a series of general amendments to the Township Zoning Code. And whereas at its regularly scheduled meeting held December 12th of 2017, the Planning Commission recommended approval of the planning consultant's proposed general amendments to the Township Zoning Code to the Township Board, which changes can be summarized as follows. Zoning Code reorganization. A, to eliminate 3 zoning districts that we never mapped on the official Township zoning map. B, 3, is the creation of 3 tables, use tables to replace uses listed in text in articles. C, all specific use provisions consolidated into Article 18. D, move parking and loading regulations from footnotes of schedule of regulations into general provisions. E, move the trash receptacles regulations from accessory buildings section into a new section in general provisions. 2, bring the zoning code into compliance with state and federal law, specifically A, Michigan Right to Farm Act. Farms and stables were changed to permitted uses. Conditions changed to reference the generally accepted agricultural management practices, GAMP. B, Michigan Zoning Enabling Act, cell towers, application, shot clock, and what is a conditional use and a permitted use. C, Michigan regulations on state licensed daycare. D, U.S. Religious Land Use and Institutionalized Persons Act, define places of worship and amend zoning to ensure they are treated the same as other like private assembly uses. 3, to make sure I get this right, to add definitions, public places of worship, motels. Did I get it wrong? Oh, I got it down about it. Add the new definitions for places of worship, hotels, medical clinics, and medical offices, and amend minor and auto repair updates, definitions, and motels. 4, eliminate requirement for the detached accessory structure over 100 square feet goes to the ZBA and require a 5-foot setback for the accessory structures from side and rear lot line. And whereas proposed ordinance number 2018-476 has revised the current existing ordinance in such a fashion as to incorporate the above changes recommended, and whereas the Charter Township Ypsilanti Board of Trustees agrees with the request of the Planning Commission, now therefore be it resolved that the Charter Township Ypsilanti Board of Trustees does hereby approve ordinance number 2018-476 as attached by amending articles of the Township Zoning Code as noted, replacing it with proposed ordinance number 2018-476, which ordinance reflects the suggestions and input of the Township's planning consultant as recommended by the Commission. I would so move the resolution 2018-1 and the first reading of the changes to ordinance number 2018-476.
Support.
Motion, Lovejoy Rowe, support Gerald Rowe, to approve the first reading. This was approved at the Planning Commission as well. Are there any questions or comments regarding the changes? Because it's an ordinance, we have to do a roll call vote. Wilson?
Yes.
Doe?
Yes.
Stumbo votes yes. Lovejoy Rowe?
Yes.
Ross Williams?
Yes.
Eldridge?
Yes.
Gerald Rowe? Yes. The motion is approved. Number 3 is request approval of the Metro Act application of MCI Metro Access Transmission Services Corp., which is doing business as Verizon Access Transmission Services per Public Act 48 of 2002. Is the petitioner present?
I would move that we approve the request for the Metro Act application.
Support.
I would like to speak with the applicant who's not present. They have included a map, which in the past we met with providers that are doing this. This is going to small businesses and medium-sized businesses. We discussed in the work session not approving it until we can get additional information. Attorney McLean is, huh?
Madam Chair?
Yeah.
Are we able to add a contingency that if there's information that the 3 full-time officials receive before the 45-day timeline, then it's approved? If not, then it's denied? Are we able to put that contingency on it, Attorney Winters?
According to Mr. McLean, he said we either have to approve or deny within 45 days. It was up or down. I read this, tried to read it and understand exactly what they're going to do. Maybe Clerk Rowe knows more than I do about what they're going to do. They talked about adding a facility, but the facility's not in the map, and it says it'll be presented later.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
I can't vote for it in its current format. If we were to vote no tonight, that applicant still has an appeal process where they can come back, sit before us in a public forum and speak to clarify a lot of the issues. I'm not necessarily opposed to the concept of the idea, but simply receiving an application for something with no background information or no forethought to come in and see the full-time officials or our development team is a bit concerning. So again, if we're voting tonight, I'm going to have to vote no, and hopefully they'll come back in on an appeal process and we can hear more at a later date and get some clarity.
Yeah.
Madam Chair.
Trustee, is it
Yeah, I can sustain.
Carol?
Go ahead. Okay, yeah, thanks, Monica. Madam Chair, the only other, the suggestion that we could do is to call a special meeting before the 3rd, but, because the 3rd is our 45 days, right? So that gives us a little less than 2 weeks, or two weeks, I guess, plus a few days.
Attorney Winters?
I was just going to say, I reviewed their application and their map. I think I have a somewhat of a basic understanding, and maybe in the future, these can also be referred to Planning and Development Coordinator Charlotte Wilson, because maybe she can also help get better clarity in regards to just what the actual program is. But I would just request that the board maybe consider just tabling it. I was going to make a suggestion they table it with the idea that you have a special board meeting called, before the 45 days, and then have a letter be sent to them asking them to have somebody here on the special board meeting date, or at least provide more detailed information in regards to what it is they're actually going to be achieving by this fiber optic going into the right-of-way. Again, as Karen indicated, it's not our right-of-way, but we still would like to have more information, I think, when they're out there digging up in our township and laying the fiber optic. But I think to be on the safe side, if you tabled it for a date before the February 3rd meeting deadline, February 3rd deadline, they ask for more information. And then maybe Charlotte Wilson, as the planning and development, can also, do what Joe Lawson used to do and try to get a bit more information. Stop.
Which is
Madam Chair?
Yeah.
Yeah, just a couple of things.
Trustee Ross.
Okay, thank you. A couple of things. I do, again, see that they are talking about fiber optics. If I have it clear, fiber optics can do many things. It can move internet. Also, it can also move telecommunications, and pretty much might as well say voice, and also data. So because of that, to me, that needs to be clarified. If they're talking about basically internet communications, voice, data, who knows? But it would be great to have that clarified. So because of that, and even though I do understand fully that you can submit this application without ever coming before anyone, it seems like in a township, including the Planning and Development Board, in order to clarify your application, I do think that, for someone that can come and ask me, like, what are they doing? I should have an idea what it is that they're doing. And if I don't have an idea, and if I can't provide clarity for, the citizens that may come and ask me, I have to vote no. And right now, I cannot do it.
So the attorney suggested that we could table it and accomplish.
My only question would be, the deputy clerk mentioned that the company's out of state and has not responded yet. I'm not sure if that simply tabling and asking for advice will prompt them as much as voting no will prompt them to appeal the process and come in. I'll do either one. I'm okay with either way, so.
I think there are local contacts on that application.
Southfield.
I think maybe just a communication.
They've been contacted.
On both ends, that we can improve that. I'm sure that they'll probably reach out to the township for more information. I don't know why they wouldn't. It's, it seems
They were contacted, though. They were contacted about tonight's meeting to come.
I wasn't disputing. I was
Yeah,
just saying,
no.
I think that if there's additional clarity being requested, I don't know why they wouldn't respond to a date certain, but that's what I was.
Madam Chair, I would move to table this until we can get additional information prior to the 45 days and call a special meeting.
Support.
Motion.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry, Larry.
Motion Doe. Support Gerald Rowe. On tabling motions, we have to do roll call votes, and there's no other discussion on it.
Yes.
Gerald Rowe. Eldridge.
Yes.
Ross Williams.
Yes.
Lovejoy Rowe.
Yes.
Stumbo votes yes. Doe.
Yes.
Wilson.
Yes.
It is tabled until a special meeting is going to be called,
Before the deadline.
Before the deadline.
before February 3rd, or whatever the deadline is. Number 4 is a request of Travis McDougal, IS Manager, for approval of membership in the U.S. Communities Governmental Purchasing Alliance.
So moved.
There's a motion, Rowe, support by Eldridge, to approve the participation in this purchasing alliance. Are there questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 5 is a request to appoint Morley Stevenson to the Ypsilanti Township Board of Review.
Move to approve.
Or,
Motion Wilson, support Eldridge. Is there discussion? All in favor?
aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Under authorization in bed, we have the request of Michael Sterin, the hydro operations, to seek professional service quotes for the replacement of the runner shaft bearing for runner number 2 at the hydro station, with the quotes coming back to the board for approval.
Move to approve.
Motion Doe, support Ross Williams. Question, comment? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
There's no other business, a motion to adjourn would be in order.
Still move.
Support.
Motion Doe, support Eldridge. The meeting, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned at 7:36.
Almost grabbed yours. Almost grabbing everything.
Right flow.
Extra got